Om Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyanyajantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivod Bhutan Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtam Shaktin च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मा पादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः परब्रह्मनिष्ठं स्वतो धर्मनिष्ठं अहिंसैकनिष्ठं स्वशिष्यै सुजुष्टं यतीनां वरिष्ठं गुरूणां गरिष्ठं दयानन्दरूपं मदाचार्यमीडे नमः श्रीपरमार्थाय संसाराध्यासनाशिने श्रोत्रियब्रह्मनिष्ठाय तस्मै ब्रह्मविदे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते. I welcome you all to the 44th class of the Fundamentals of Vedanta series. The Tattva Bodha gave out the essence of the Vedantic teaching in the Sutra Vakyam, Atma Satyam Tadanyat Sarvam Mithyeti. As we have discussed, the implications of understanding this are enormous. What it is saying is that you are the Satyam and everything else is in a lower order of reality. Everything else is mithya. So the implications of this are that me being Satyam, I'm totally unaffected in reality by whatever happens to anything else, because everything else happens to be mithya. A dent in the gold bangle can never affect the gold. Mirage water can never wet the sand. A dream can never affect the waker, fundamentally in any way. And similarly here, me being Satyam, I cannot be affected by anything else because everything else is mithya. That is the very fundamental character of Satyam, that it is always untouched by mithya. The mithya is purely nama rupa, it doesn't have any existence of its own. It is Satyam that really exists. And nama rupas coming and going, mithyas coming and going. Changes in mithya can never affect what is Satyam. So this understanding itself is moksha, because I cannot be affected by any kind of apurnatvam that can arise out of mithya vastus. Mithya vastus can never make me feel apurna. And therefore, I am always Purnaha. I am free from all kinds of Apurnatvam that can arise due to changes in Mithya Vastu. And when we say Mithya Vastu, it includes the body, the mind, the family, the possessions, the profession, whatever, anything in the world, any event in the world or this body mind complex cannot affect me, the Atma. This is the final teaching. This is the vision that I have to come to. But then when I hear this, I'm not able to accept it. I'm not able to assimilate this. Why? Because I say, I am affected by everything around me. I am this body and mind. What are you talking about? There, Vedanta points out that you have been using this word I all your life, but you have not understood what this word I really refers to. When Vedanta says you are Satyam, and I translate it as I am Satyam, the understanding that Vedanta has of you as the Atma, there is a disconnect in my mind. I understand the I to be this body mind complex. There's a disconnect in the vision of what Vedanta views me as versus what I view myself as. There is this gap. And therefore, there is difficulty in communication. Vedanta is saying a certain thing, it's trying to convey a certain message, but what I understand is different. I misunderstand the message or don't understand the message. So Vedanta points out that because I have not understood what this I really is, I have mixed up the I and the not I. I have mixed up the Atma and the Anatma in my understanding of who I am. And therefore, I am not able to see what Vedanta is saying. So the student then asks that if you are telling me that I have not understood the Atma, you tell me who this Atma is, you tell me who I really am. Atma kaha. This is the question the student asks. Therefore, sthula sukshma karana sharirat vyatiriktah panchakoshat itasan avastha traya sakshi satchidananda swarupa sanyastishtati sa atma. So 11 anatmas are negated. And when we talk about 11 anatmas being negated, it is my wrong thinking that I am those anatmas. That wrong thinking is what is being really negated here. So I have a tendency to mix myself up with these 11 anatmas in my vision of who I am, and therefore Vedanta has to explicitly negate it. Confusion necessitates negation. And then the text gets into what each of these anatmas is, and we said it's important to understand anatma as anatma, so that I can exclude these anatmas and their attributes from my vision of who I am. That is the purpose of the study. Therefore, Sthula Shariram Kim? What is this first Anatma Sthula Shariram? Panchi Krita Pancha Mahabhutai Kritam Sat Karmajanyam Sukha Dukkhadi Bhogayatanam. Shariram Asti Jayate Vardhate Viparinamate Apakshiyate Vinashyati iti Shadvikaravat Etat Sthula Shariram. We saw all this, what the Sthula Sharira is. Then the next Anatma, Sukshma Shariram Kim? What is the Sukshma Sharira? अपंचीकृत पंचमहाभूतैः कृतं सत्कर्मजन्यं सुखदुःखादि भोगसाधनं पंचज्ञानेन्द्रियाणि पंचकर्मेन्द्रियाणि पंचप्राणादयः मनश्चैकं बुद्धिश्चैका एवं सप्तदश कलाभिः सह यत् तिष्ठति तत् सूक्ष्मशरीरम्. And then the third anatma, karana shariram kim? What is the karana sharira? Anirvacyanadya vidyarupam. शरीरद्वयस्य कारणमात्रं सत्स्वरूपाज्ञानं निर्विकल्पकरूपं यदस्ति तत् कारणशरीरम्. We covered these three bodies. And as we said, each of these three anatmas, the Sharira Trayam, is analyzed from the perspective of perceptibility, function, causes, nature, and its constituents. So, with regards to perceptibility, this Sthula Shariram that I call this gross body is perceptible to me as well as you. My Sthula Shariram is perceptible to me and you. Your Sthula Shariram is perceptible to you and me. When we come to the Sukshma Sharira, my mind, my buddhi, my Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, etc., their functioning, it's perceptible only to me, not to you. Your Sukshma Shariram is perceptible only to you, not to me. Whereas when we come to the Karana Shariram, then my Karana Shariram is neither perceptible to me nor to you. Your Karana Shariram is neither perceptible to you nor to me. This is with regards to perceptibility. Then what about their function? As we said, that the function of the Sthula Sharira, Sukha Dukkhadi, Bhoga, Ayatanam, it is the residence where these experiences of Sukha and Dukkha take place. And about the Sukshma Shariram, it is Sukha Dukkhadi, Bhoga, Sadhanam. It is the means by which this experience of Sukha and Dukkha take place. First of all, the Sukshma Shariram enlimens the Sthula Shariram. Because it is made of these sukshma materials, it is able to reflect consciousness. It is able to become sentient by borrowing consciousness from Atma, and therefore it transfers this borrowed consciousness to the Sthula Sharira, and therefore the Sthula Sharira becomes sentient. That is the first job of the Sukshma Shariram. And then the Sukshma Shariram provides these instruments of interaction like these Jnanendriyas and these Karmendriyas in order to interact with the world, because if the aim is that the human being should get sukha and dukkha, the sukha and dukkha is obtained only through interaction with the world. And for interaction with the world, instruments of interaction are required, and therefore these jnanendriyas, these sense organs of knowledge are there. And then one has to act in the world, therefore the karmendriyas are there. And the pancha pranas are there in order to sustain this body. And the mind deliberates on what actions need to be done, what should not be done, etc. And the buddhi decides on the course of action. This is the function of the sukshma sharira. And what about the karana sharira? The karana sharira's only function is sharira dvayasya karana matram. It is purely a cause for the production of these two bodies, the sthula sharira and the sukshma sharira. So now let us look at the causes of the three bodies that we have already seen. We are just summarizing what we have seen so far. So what are the causes of this Sthula Sharira? Said Panchikrita Panchamahabhutaih Kritam Satkarmajanyam. We said that the general cause of all the Sthula Sharira, all the gross bodies are these five elements. Grossified five elements: Akashaha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Jalam, and Prithvi. And the special cause of the production of this body is one's own past karma. The prarabdha karma that is fructifying leads to the manufacturing of this body. What type of body one gets and what kinds of issues, whether it be healthy, unhealthy, what kind of diseases this person may get, all of that is determined by the prarabdha karma. And since in this body, in this human body, the pursuit of dharma and moksha, all of these pursuits are possible, we say that it is sat karmajanyam. It is born because some past punya is there. Otherwise, one would have gone into lower life forms. Then when it comes to the sukshma shariram, what are the causes? We said apanchikrita panchamahabhutaih kritam satkarmajanyam. That it is made from these subtle versions of the Panchamahabhutas, the same five elements. When they are not grossified in their subtle forms, they lead to the creation of the Sukshma Sharira. And they are able to reflect this consciousness, as we saw, because they are made of very fine material. Just as a mirror is able to reflect light, whereas a wall is not able to reflect the light in the same way a mirror does. The mirror is able to show a clear reflection of me. I cannot see my own reflection in the wall. Similarly, a reflection of consciousness, that is Atma, a reflection of it develops in the Sukshma Shariram. Why? Because it is made of these fine materials, apanchikrita panchamahabhutaih kritam. And the Sukshma Shariram adapts to the Stula Sharira. Therefore, when the Stula Sharira is a human body, the Sukshma Sharira and all of its functions become fully manifest. All of the higher order thinking ability, this deliberation, thinking, deliberating about what to do, what not to do, this idea of a free will is present only in the Sukshma Shariram that's associated with a human body, not in an animal body or a plant body. And the pursuit of dharma and the pursuit of moksha, all of this is possible only when the stula Sukshma Shariram is associated with a Stula Shariram, that is a human body. And therefore we say the Sukshma Sharira that has adapted itself to a human body is also Sat Karma Janyam. And what about the cause of the Karana Sharira? We said the Karana Sharira itself is the cause of these two bodies, Sharira Dvayasya Karana Matram. But what about the cause of the Karana Sharira? We said it's an invalid question. Because Anadya Avidya Rupam. Anirvachya Anadya Vidya Rupam. Anirvachya Anadi Avidya Rupam. This Karana Shariram is Anadi. It is beginningless. It is the core of the Jivatma, which has always been there. There was never a time when this Jiva was not there in the form of the Karana Sharira. It is beginningless. And for a beginningless thing, we cannot talk about a cause, because if we have a cause, then whatever we are talking about, whose cause we are talking about, that should be an effect. Then only we can talk about a cause, and an effect always has a beginning. The Karana Sharira never has a beginning, and therefore it is never an effect. And therefore we cannot talk about its cause. Then the question is, what are the constituents of these bodies? Sharira Trayam. For the physical body, we said the constituents are available in any book on anatomy. Tattva Bodha does not get into it. The idea of the Shastra is to tell me things that I cannot know through my own pramanas, through my own means of knowledge. The constituents of the gross body we all know, and those who study medicine know it in much more detail. The constituents of the Sukshma Sharira is something Tattva Bodha talks about. Evam Saptadasha Kalabhisaha Yat Tishtati Tat Sukshma Shariram. It mentioned the 17 constituents of the Sukshma Sharira, the Pancha Jnanendriyani, the Pancha Karmendriyani, the Pancha Pranadayaha, Manaschaikam Buddhischaika. These are the 17 components of the Sukshma Sharira. And what are the constituents of the Karana Sharira? We said the Karana Sharira is the cause of the Sukshma and Sthula Shariras. And it is unmanifest, it is not perceptible. So we took the example of the mango seed. In the mango seed, the entire mango tree is present in an unmanifest form. If I cut the seed, I cannot see any mango tree in it. but the mango tree is very much there in an unmanifest form. The type of sprout that is going to come out, the type of leaves the sprout develops, the type of branches, the type of trunk, and the type of flowers that will come out, the type of the petals, and the type of the pollen, the type of the fruit, and the seed the fruit contains. Everything is there encoded in the seed. But I don't see it. That's what is called unmanifest. Similarly, all the details of the Sukshma Sharira that are going to come out and the type of Sthula Sharira that is going to come out, all of those details are there in the Karana Sharira in an unmanifest form. So the constituents are there, all these details are there, but it's not perceptible. That's why it is Nirvikalpaka Rupam. And finally, we talk about the nature of the three bodies. What is the nature of the Sthula Sharira? The nature of the Sthula Sharira is that it is Shadvikaravat. It goes through these sixfold modifications: Asti, Jayate, Vardhate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Vinashyati. It goes through these sixfold modifications from the womb to the tomb. There is no Sthula Sharira which doesn't go through these modifications. It's the nature of the Sthula Sharira. What is the nature of the Sukshma Sharira? He said the Sukshma Sharira is also Savikara, it goes through changes. Because during Pralayam, the Sukshma Shariram is not there. During Srishti, the Sukshma Shariram arises from the Karana Shariram during Srishti. The Sukshma Sharira of all the Jivatmas arises from the Karana Shariras. So it is Janyam, it is also Karma Janyam, based on the karmas, and these karmas are there in the Karana Sharira. And then the Sukshma Sharira goes through various changes. Like we said, the Sukshma Sharira itself adapts to the Stula Sharira. So this adaptation is a kind of a change in the Sukshma Sharira. And then every time one looks around, when the Jnanendriyas contact the world, vrittis take place in the mind, and these vrittis are all modifications of the Sukshma Sharira. The Sukshma Sharira is constantly under modification. And one may either cultivate good values or one may cultivate vices. Both are possible, and both of these are modifications in the Sukshma Sharira. And when does the Sukshma Sharira die? When the Sthula Sharira dies, when this gross body dies, we say the Sukshma Sharira does not die. But the Sukshma Sharira is very much there and it travels potentially to other lokas or may come back to the same loka and take up another Sthula Sharira, another gross body. So the death of the Sthula Sharira is not the death of the Sukshma Sharira. Then when does the Sukshma Sharira go away, if we ask? Vedanta tells me that it goes away during Pralayam, when the whole creation becomes unmanifest. At that time, the Stula Shariras become unmanifest, the Sukshma Shariras also become unmanifest, only the Karana Sharira remains. Because the Karana Sharira was always unmanifest. This unmanifestation and manifestation doesn't make any difference to the Karana Sharira. So this is the nature of the Sukshma Sharira. And what about the nature of the Karana Sharira? We said it's Anadi, the Karana Sharira is beginningless. There was never a time when you were not there. There was never a time when I was not there. As the Karana Sharira. As Stula and Sukshma Shariras, we might have come and gone. But as the Karana Sharira, we have always been there. So Anadi. And Anadi Avidya Rupam, this Karana Sharira is of the nature of ignorance. What kind of ignorance? Sat Swarupa Jnanam. It is of the nature of self-ignorance. Atma Ajnanam. And it is anirvachyam. It cannot be said to be categorically existent, or categorically it cannot be said to be non-existent. It cannot be classified as existent or non-existent. We took the example of darkness. We all experience darkness, and we experience the effects of darkness like fumbling and tripping and falling, etc. That happens in a dark room. So darkness cannot be said to be non-existent because it is experienced. Then can darkness be said to be existent? Darkness cannot be said to be existent also because when one puts on the light, it disappears without leaving a trace. It gets destroyed without a trace. Therefore, it cannot be said to be existent also. So similarly, ignorance cannot be classified as sat or asat. The effects of ignorance are experienced by us all because one runs away screaming that there is a snake here. One is trembling with fear. But then the moment one inquires into it, one turns on the light, one sees that there is no snake, there is only a rope. So all this trembling with fear, screaming and running away were the effects of rope ignorance. So we cannot say that it is non-existent. A non-existent thing cannot have effects. But then we cannot say it is existent either because this ignorance is also destroyed without leaving a trace. Just disappears upon inquiry. Therefore it is anirvachyam. This karana sharira, being of the nature of ignorance, is anirvachyam. Then when does this karana sharira go? The answer lies in its very nature. It's anadi avidya rupam, sat swarupa jnanam. It is of the nature of ajnanam. When does ajnanam go? Ajnanam goes only with jnanam, only with knowledge. Physics ajnanam goes only with physics knowledge. Rope ajnanam goes only with rope knowledge. Rope ajnanam doesn't go with physics knowledge. Physics ajnanam will not go with rope knowledge. Karana shariram is of the nature of Atma ajnanam. Therefore it goes only with Atma jnanam. Until the Karana Shariram goes, these Sukshma Shariras will keep coming. Just as we took the example of a tree, if we cut the trunk of a tree, these green shoots keep emerging and they develop into another tree. You cut it again green shoots emerge, develops into another tree. You cut it again, the same thing happens. So if one has to remove this tree once and for all, one has to uproot it. This Karana Sharira is like the root, which keeps giving rise to Sukshma Sharira. Pralayam, no matter if Pralayam happens, Karana Sharira, as we said, is very resilient. It survives Pralayam also. Then in the next Srishti, again Sukshma Sharira emerges. Sthula Shariras emerge. Goes on for a while, Pralayam comes, the Karana Sharira still survives. In the next Srishti, again Sukshma Sharira emerges. Sthula Shariras emerge. This goes on. So as long as the Karana Sharira is there, there is no end to the samsara. The cycle of birth and death will keep happening. And because Ajnanam, Karana Sharira is the nature of Ajnanam, in every birth I'll feel I am Apurnaha. I have to make myself Purnaha. I try to pursue this and that, this and that. This goes on and on. And then one dies. Sthula Shariram falls. Another Sukshma Shariram. The Sukshma Shariram gets associated with another Sthula Sharira. This keeps happening. Even Pralayam comes in the next Srishti. The Karana Sharira gives rise to another Sukshma Sharira that feels I am Apurna. Therefore, the cycle of birth and death continues. I feel Apurna in every birth. I feel I am incomplete. I have to make myself complete. The only way to end this is through Atma Jnanam. Atma Jnanam uproots the Karana Sharira. And then one knows that with Atma Jnanam, one knows that I am always full and complete as the Atma. I don't have to become full and complete. And therefore, moksha is a purushartha. This ignorance doesn't go by itself, as we said. Even the hardest of rocks gets eroded by the winds, it gets converted to dust in 1,000,000 years. But this Karana Sharira survives pralayam after pralayam. It never gets naturally eroded because ignorance is the only thing in the creation that doesn't go by itself. It goes only through jnanam, and that is why moksha is a purushartha. I have to make an effort in order to gain moksha. I have to commit myself to gaining jnanam. That's why karma yoga is required, upasana yoga is required, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. A commitment to all of this is required. Why? Because we are attacking the karana sharira, the root cause of this entire samsara chakra. This is the nature of the Karana Sharira. So we have discussed these three anatmas, the Sharira Trayam. And now the text Tattva Bodha moves to the next set of anatmas. Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktah Panchakoshat Atitas San Avasthā Traya Sakshi. So in the order of the definition, Panchakoshas comes next, but in the text it discusses this Avasthā Trayam next. So that is the next topic that we are going to look into. So if you pull out the PDFs, then on page 7 of the PDF, in the middle, there is this question about Avasthā Trayam Kim. Avasthā Trayam Kim.
Avasthā Trayam Kim.
Jagrat Swapna Shushuptyavastha.
Jagrat Swapna Shushuptyavastha.
Yes. So Avasthā Trayam Kim. Jagrat Swapna Sushuptyavasthaha. It's a plural there. So the student is asking that you had mentioned these 11 anatmas, and we have discussed only 3 of them. So what about these next set of anatmas? So now I am able to appreciate what you're saying, that these Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Shariras are all anatmas. I'm able to appreciate that. But then you also talked about the other anatmas. So let us discuss those. Therefore, he asks, Avasthā Trayam Kim? What are these 3 avasthas that every living being goes through? And when we say avastha, it means a state of experience. And the Guru replies, it is Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptyavasthaha. It is the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. These are the 3 avasthas. So Jagrat refers to waking. Swapna refers to this dreamful sleep, sleep with dream. Whereas Sushupti refers to this dreamless sleep or deep sleep. So now the question is, why is this analysis important? Why is this analysis of these 3 avasthas important? And we say, the reason is because we talked about these 3 shariras. We now know the Sthula Sharira, the Sukshma Sharira, and this Karana Sharira is there as a part of this individual. But to see how Atma is different from these 3 Shariras. Of course, there is the Sharira Traya Prakriya that we talked about. in Sharira Traya Prakriya, in that Prakriya means a method of teaching. I see that I am the Drik and all of this is the Drishyam. The Shariras are seen by me, especially when it comes to the Sthula and Sukshma Sharira. They are clearly perceptible, they are seen, they are known by me. And even the Karana Sharira and deep sleep state, it is, you can say in a manner of saying that I understand that it is there in an unmanifest state. But then I experience this ignorance and this happiness in the deep sleep state. So in some ways, I am the experiencer of this happiness in deep sleep and of this ignorance, total ignorance in deep sleep. That is the Karana Sharira. So this Drig is always different from the Drishyam. We discussed the Drig Drishya Prakriya. That is one Prakriya to arrive at the Atma. That the knower is always different from the known. This body is known, this Sukshma Sharira is known, and therefore I must be a knower who is different from this. That is the Drigdrishya Prakriya that we discussed. Here, this is called the Avasthā Traya Viveka Prakriya. That was the Drigdrishya Viveka Prakriya. This is the Avasthā Traya Viveka Prakriya. So in this, in the different states, I can see how these bodies come and go. So then it allows me to see what is intrinsic to me, because I am there in all these states. What is intrinsic to me and what is extrinsic? What is coming and going versus what is inherently my nature? This Prakriya, Avasthā Traya Prakriya, allows me to see that. And that is why it is an important analysis. So what Tattva Bodha does is it connects each of these avasthas, Jagrad Avastha, Swapna Avastha, and Sushupti Avastha, to each of these three bodies that we saw. And that is why this discussion comes after a discussion of the Sharira Trayam, because it depends on the understanding of the Sharira Trayam that we already have. So now we will read the next portion in the Tattva Bodha that talks about Jagrad Avastha. Jagrad Avastha ka
जाग्रत अवस्था का
Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi
श्रोत्रादि ज्ञानेन्द्रियैः
Shabdadi Vishayaha
शब्दादिविषयाः
Jnayante
ज्ञायन्ते
iti yat
इति अत्
Sa Jagrad Avastha
सा जाग्रत् अवस्था
Stula Sharirabhimani Atma
स्थूलशरीराभिमानी आत्मा
Vishva ityuchyate.
विश्वै इत्युच्यते.
So here the student asks that you talked about these three avasthas, the Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti avastha. What is the Jagrat avastha? So here, if you notice that in the text, it says Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi Shabdadi Vishaya Gyayanta iti yat. But when I pronounced it as Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi Shabdadi Vishayaha Gyayante iti. So that was deliberate. The reason why that Visarga is omitted is because of Sandhi rule. Shabdadi Vishaya is written, but it's when we pronounce it as a separate word, we say Shabdadi Vishayaha. And similarly, Gyayanta iti is there. That is again Gyayante iti, but the ekara at the end is omitted again because of a Sandhi rule. So what is in the text is correct and what we pronounced is also correct. I just wanted to point it out. And the other aspect is that there is a Patha Bheda in some texts. If you see Tattva Bodha texts, it will say Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi Shabdadi Vishayaischa Jnayate. This difference is there in some texts. So when my Guru Swami Paramathananda has taught it, he has taught it the latter version. But this former version is there in Pujya Swamiji's text. He uses the former version. So there is some minor difference here, but that doesn't change the meaning in any manner. And I have used the version that we have presented in the PDF. So Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi. With the help of these Jnanendriyas like Shrotra, etc. So all of this, as we see, it is building on the concepts that we have already learnt. So we saw in detail what these Jnanendriyas are Shrotram, Tvak, Chakshuhu, Rasana and Ghranam, Pancha Jnanendriyas. So Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi, with these 5 Jnanendriyas, Shabdadi Vishayaha Jnayante, these Vishayas, these sense objects like Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha. The sounds, touches, forms and colors, rasa, tastes and smells, these are known through my Jnanendriyas. So this results in a certain knowledge about the world. I gain knowledge about Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa and Rasa and Gandha. This is what the world is. What I perceive through my Jnanendriyas is what I call the world. So I gain knowledge of the world through the Jnanendriyas. And then I respond to it through the Karmendriyas. That is not talked about here, but that is implied. So the avastha in which I interact with the physical world and I gain knowledge about it through the Jnanendriyas and respond to it through the Karmendriyas, that state is Jagrat Avastha. That is what it is saying here. So the Stula Sharira is something I consider to be a very integral part of my personality, this gross body, is how I largely define myself. I am tall, I am short, etc. We have seen all of this. I am fair, I am dark, I weigh so much, I am 5 feet 10 inches tall. All of these attributes I take to be my attributes. But the interesting thing to note is that only in one of these 3 avasthas I am aware of this Sthula Sharira. In dream and deep sleep state, I am not aware of this Sthula Sharira at all. I am not aware of these attributes of the Sthula Sharira. I am not aware of the Sthula Sharira itself. So, in the dream or deep sleep states, these Golakas are also not there because I am not aware of them. Golakas are the physical seat of these sense organs. And the Sukshma Sharira is withdrawn from the Stula Sharira, so my Jnanendriyas are not resident in the Golakas. And therefore, the perception of the external world is also not there in dream and deep sleep. So my eyes are closed. I don't see anything because the Jnanendriya is not resident here. And moreover, my eyes are closed. My nostrils are open, my ears are open. The Jnanendriya is not resident here in these Golakas. The Sukshma Sharira is withdrawn. And therefore, I don't perceive any smells, I don't perceive any sounds. Whereas in the waking state, I have full awareness of this Stula Sharira. I have awareness of this gross body. The identification with the Golakas are there. The Jnanendriyas are resident in the Golakas. Note that the Golakas are a part of the Stula Sharira. The Indriyas are part of the Sukshma Sharira. The Jnanendriyas are resident in their respective Golakas. And therefore, interaction with the world happens. The perception of the world takes place. Therefore, I experience the physical world. So this 5-segmented world of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa and Gandha is contacted by my Jnanendriyas. Or in other words, I let in this five-segmented world through my five apertures, so to say. Through these five apertures or windows in the physical body, the world enters the mind. The physical world enters the mind. So this state of experience is called Jagrad Avastha. Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi Shabdadi Vishayaha Jnayante iti ya sa Jagrad Avastha. Then it says, Stula Sharira Bhimani Atma Vishwa Ityuchyate. So in this state of Jagrad Avastha, this Atma, which is always there, the real I, the Atma, it is identified with this physical body. Saying, I am this body. This identification is there. So the Atma that identifies with this physical body, it is given a name. The Atma that identifies with this physical body is Thula Sharirabhimani Atma. And that is given a name, and the name is the Waker. We call this person the Waker. And he's given a name Vishwa. It's called Vishwa. So this word Vishwa means complete in this context. Why are we saying this is complete? Because there is identification with the Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karana Sharira. Identification is there with all the three bodies here. The identification with the three bodies is complete. And only in this avastha, this free will is there. In deep sleep, no free will. At least there is no manifest free will. In dream, again, there is no free will. You will see that. Only in this Jagrad Avastha, this free will is there. This Karta is there, therefore this doer is there in Jagrad Avastha. This Bhokta, the experiences is there, all right, but this Karta is there. In deep sleep, there is no Karta. In dream also, there is no Karta. Only the experiencer is there in dream. So the free will is there, this Karta is there, the Bhokta is there, the doer is there, the experiencer is also there. And therefore, the pursuit of the Purusharthas, whether it is be Artha, Kamaha, Dharmaha, Moksha, all of these pursuit of these Purusharthas is possible in Jagrad Avastha. The individuality is complete, the Jiva is fully manifest. We talked about the CD. If you plug in the CD, the movie comes out. Right? So just imagine that in some state, this movie only partially appears. You see only some faint outlines of the movie. You don't see the full colors, etc. But in a certain mode of operation, you see the full movie in all its glory. So the manifestation of the DVD is complete in terms of the movie in that case. The mango seed has become the full-blown tree, so to say. So in this jiva is fully manifest. All these three shariras are there. Identification with all the three shariras is there, and therefore he is called Vishwa, means this complete individual. So this is the Jagrad Avastha. So next we come to the Swapna Avastha, and we will read that portion. Swapnavastha keti chet
Swapnavastha keti chet
Jagradavasthayam
Jagradavasthayam
Yadrishtam
Yadrishtam
Yadshrutam
Yadshrutam
Tajjanita vasanaya
तज्जनितवासनया
Nidra samaye
निद्रासमये
Yah prapanchah pratiyate
यः प्रपञ्च प्रतीयते
Sa swapnavastha
सा स्वप्नावस्था
Sukshma sharirabhimani Atma
सूक्ष्मशरीराभिमानी आत्मा
Taijasa ityuchyate.
तैजस इत्युच्यते.
So this tells me what the second avastha, swapna avastha is. So in the waking state, in Jagrad avastha, like we said, we experience the physical world. But then we not only experience the physical world, but in Jagrad avastha, we are also recording our experiences. So as we know of these audio and video recorders, these audio and video recorders record sounds and colors and forms. That's what they can record. But the mind is a much more sophisticated recorder. It records Shabdaha, Sparshaha, Rupaha, Rasa, and Gandha. All of this gets recorded. So these audio and video recorders that we have, it records only Shabda and Rupa. It doesn't record Sparsha, Rasa, or Gandha. It doesn't record touches, tastes, or smells. That technology is not there. But the mind can record all of these Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So, anytime I'm going through and experiencing things in the world, the experiences are also creating these recordings. And the capacity of the mind is just enormous. It records what I experience, or not the entire thing in all its details, but it records the essential aspects of certain experiences. And that is what we call as samskara or vasana. We have discussed this before. That every experience leaves some samskara or vasana behind. Anubhava janita samskara or anubhava janita vasana. And the capacity of the mind is just enormous. See, even on our mobile phones, if we do some recording, after some time we get this spaceful error. You're running out of space, and then we have to go and delete things to make space. But the capacity of the mind is enormous. It just keeps recording. And the recordings are not just there for this life, but even the recordings from past lives also we have carried over, because the same Sukshma Sharira has been continuing for such a long time, carrying vasanas from countless prior janmas, purva janmas. We never get this storage full error. Just keeps recording. So these recordings are there in the Sukshma Sharira, and when we have pleasant or unpleasant experiences, then the corresponding vasanas, they may be pleasant vasanas or unpleasant vasanas, they are all recorded. And when we have repeated experiences of the same kind, then the vasana becomes more stronger because of the repetition of the experience. So now, during deep sleep, as we said, the Sukshma Sharira is withdrawn from the physical body. The Jnanendriyas are no longer in the Golakas. There is no awareness of the physical body. These Jnanendriyas are also withdrawn from the Golakas. There is no experience of the physical world. So now, two things are possible. Either the mind can remain withdrawn, the Sukshma Sharira can remain withdrawn, in which case I enter the third avastha, which is Sushupti avastha. But due to karma, it is possible that certain vasanas may get triggered in the Sukshma Sharira. Vasanas are these recordings that we just talked about. So certain vasanas may get triggered. And then these vasanas that get activated because of past karma, they develop into this internal world that we call the Swapna Prapancha. So this dream is just a projection of the mind. Why? Because it is basically projected based on the vasanas that get activated due to karma. So there's an entire dream world that gets projected with dream space and dream time and dream mountains, dream rivers, dream sun, dream moon, dream people. They are all projected. Why? Because of the activation of vasanas. I have seen a sun in my waking state. I have seen moon. I have seen these stars. I have seen people who have, all of these have created vasanas. The same vasanas are activated. And then this dream world, which is very similar to the waking world, is projected. But this dream time has an entirely different scale. Within a few minutes of the dream, one can live an entire lifetime. One can get married, one can have children and even grandchildren within a dream that spans 3-4 minutes. Why? Because the time scale is entirely different. And similarly, the dream space is also entirely different from this space. It is similar, but it's an entirely different space time in the dream. This person is lying on a cot somewhere in West Mambalam. But then he is dreaming that he is taking pictures next to the Statue of Liberty in New York. Entirely different space time he has projected. So that is why it says here, Jagrad avasthayam yad drishtam yad shrutam. So in the Jagrad avastha, yat drishtam, whatever is seen, yat shrutam, whatever is heard. And we can extend this to the rasa, gandha, sparsha, etc. Whatever is smelt, touched, whatever is tasted. All of those vasanas are there. Tad janita vasanaya. So from this waking state, these vasanas are generated, and due to those vasanas, tad janita vasanaya. Because of these vasanas, Nidra samaye, during sleep. Yah prapanchah pratiyate. Whatever world is projected, because of these vasanas, sa swapna avastha, that is the dream state. So these vasanas that get activated may not be from this janma. They may be from some prior janmas also. We don't know. It all depends on karma. It is due to karma, past karma, that the Sukshma Sharira may get totally withdrawn and one goes to deep sleep. And it is due to past karma also that some of these vasanas get activated and one goes into dream state. So this is because of karma. So the free will is not involved in the creation of this dream. That is why we say that in deep sleep and dream there is no free will. There is no manifest free will. Whereas in Jagrad Avastha, only the free will is there. So whatever is happening like this due to the machinery of karma, not due to my free will in the dream. So his mountain vasana gets activated. I see a mountain in the dream. The sun vasana gets activated. I see the sun in the dream. The tiger vasana gets activated. I see a tiger in the dream. Helplessly I go through the dream. It is not because of my free will. But due to karmas, certain vasanas are chosen. Why? We don't know. We don't know the workings of karma entirely. And I also experience a separate dream body in the dream. This dream body is not the Sthula Sharira. An entirely different dream body. And if I am wearing specs in waking state, that dream body may also be wearing specs in dream state. Why? Because it is vasana activated. If one is wearing a hearing aid, then the dream body one may feel one is not hearing well without the hearing aid. But the other way is also possible. A blind person may have a dream where he is not blind. Shankaracharya Bhagavad gives this example in his Bhashya. He says that a blind person can have a dream where he is not blind. Why? Because in some Purva Janma he was not blind. That Vasana has gotten activated. So even though this is a mental projection, it's a product of Vasanas. For this dreamer, the dreamer is not a dream in the dream. In the dream, it looks to be very real. It looks like this waking state. He projects this entire dream. He projects this dream body. And then he enters the dream body. And then he forgets that he is the one who's projecting it. And then he suffers or enjoys in the dream. But he doesn't know in the dream that this is a dream. So we said that in the dream you can only dream of things that you have seen in the waking state. How do we know this? So Venkatji, I'll ask you a question here. Have you ever dreamt of a Gegabugai?
I wouldn't know what a Gagaboga is.
Right. So have you ever dreamt of a Gegabugai?
No, I don't know what that is.
Yes. So effectively the answer is no.
No. Yes.
The reason it's a no is because you don't know what a Gegabugai is.
Exactly.
So I can dream of only things I know. This thought experiment shows to me that I cannot dream of an unknown thing like a Gegabugai. In fact, Gegabugai is a term that Pujya Swamiji just made up. And I'm using the same term. Because he brings up the same example of a Gegabugai. So I can only dream of things that I know. And how would I know it? I should have seen it somewhere in Jagrad Avastha. See, if the recording is not there in a DVD, whatever is not recorded in a DVD, it cannot play that. Whatever is played by the DVD should have been recorded sometime in the DVD. So now here one may raise an objection that sometimes I dream about a man with horns. A man with horns. But I've never seen a man with horns in the dream. So doesn't it disprove what you're saying? That you're saying only things I can see in the waking state I can dream of. But I have dreamt of a man with horns. How do you explain that?
Well, I've seen horns, I've seen a man. So maybe a
Yes.
combination of them happens.
Right. So basically, exactly. So in the waking state, I have seen men. So the men vasana is there. And in the waking state, I have seen horns also separately. So the horns vasanas are there. Now we are not saying vasanas cannot get mixed up. It may so happen that a man vasana and the horn vasana are simultaneously activated. Therefore, you see a man with horns. So there is no issue here. You only see things that you have seen in the waking state, but they may get creatively mixed up in the dream due to the activation of those vasanas. So here it says, Sukshma Sharira Bhimani Atma Taijasa Ityuchyate. So during the dream, there is no awareness of this Stula Sharira, like we said. And we have projected an entirely new dream body is projected in the dream. And now I am identified with that dream body, which is basically the Sukshma Sharira. It's a projection of the Sukshma Sharira. Now, whatever happens to the dream body, I say it happens to me. For example, we have had these kind of dreams that it's been 20, 30 years since we passed through college. But then you suddenly have this dream that you are now in college and you have to write this exam and you're not prepared for this exam. And it's like this 3 credit course or 4 credit course, whatever. If you don't do this, you will have arrears and you may fail, and all of this worries and all that suddenly emerges in a dream. And when one wakes up from such a dream, it's a big relief. I don't have to study for that exam now. So, so basically, in the dream, it all looks very real. I'm identified with that dream body who's trying to go through that book, trying to mug up things in the last moment. It's happening to me. I say it's happening to me. So this Atma, I, that identifies with this dream body and experiences this dream world. This Sukshma Sharira Bhimani Atma, this is given a name called Taijasa. It's called Taijasa. So why is it called Taijasa here? So we look at our interactions in the physical world. We require light to interact. So during the morning time, there is sunlight. If we go out, everything is brightly lit. By what? By the sunlight. During night time, we switch on lights and everything in the room is lit by these electric bulbs or by some lamp, external light. But during dream, the external physical world is not there at all for me in my awareness. This physical body is not there. The Golakas, Jnanendriyas are not there. There's no interaction with the physical world. The physical world is as good as absent. But still, I see this dream. And I'm able to see objects in the dream. At that point, I'm not using the external light like sunlight, or I'm not using this lamp or electric lights that are there in the physical world. So, this dream is lit up by the internal light. This Taijasa means this luminous one who is brilliant. So, it is the light of this Taijasa that lights up this dream world. That is why the name Taijasa is given for this one who is identified with the dream body. Now we come to the third avastha. We will read that. Ataha
Ataha
Sushuptyavastha ka
Sushuptyavastā ka
aham kimapi na janami
aham kimapi na janami
sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate.
sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate
Iti sushuptyavastha
iti sushuptyavastā
karana sharirabhimani atma
karana sharirabhimani atma
pragya ityuchyate.
pragya ityuchyate.
So in deep sleep, the sthula sharira and the physical world are not experienced. Even the sukshma sharira and this dream world, the dream body and the dream world are also not experienced in deep sleep state. Like we said, due to some karma, the sukshma sharira is totally withdrawn. Nothing is experienced basically. So it's a total rest, total relaxation, no worries, no tensions. No individuality, no problems related to the individuality, nothing is there in their deep sleep state. It's not that nothing is there, but nothing is experienced. So, aham kimapi na janami. It says, Aham kim api na janami. I did not know anything. This is what one doesn't say this during the deep sleep. During the deep sleep, one doesn't say I do not know anything. It's only after one wakes up, one recalls the sleep experience, then one says, I did not know anything. Aham kimapi na janami. Why do I not know anything in deep sleep? Because the Sukshma Sharira is totally withdrawn. As we have said, knowledge is a modification in the mind in the form of a vritti. That has to take place in the Sukshma Sharira. When the Jnanendriyas are residing in their Golakas, I am aware of the surroundings. Therefore, I know what the surroundings are. I have knowledge because there is a corresponding vritti in my mind. The Sukshma Sharira is there. But in deep sleep, the Sukshma Sharira is totally withdrawn. And because it's totally withdrawn, no knowledge can take place. So the physical world awareness is not there. The physical body awareness is also not there. This dream world awareness is not there. The dream body awareness is also not there. This awareness of the individuality is also not there. So one may be a father in the waking state who is very concerned about the children. But in deep sleep state, he is not a father anymore. He doesn't identify himself as a father. One may be a mother. One goes to deep sleep state. The mother becomes a non-mother. The husband becomes a non-husband. The wife becomes a non-wife. This individuality awareness is not there in deep sleep state. Even a thief and a sage both have the same deep sleep. There is no difference in the deep sleep of a thief versus the deep sleep of a sage. There is no difference in the deep sleep of a rich man versus the deep sleep of a beggar. They are identical. Why? Because this awareness of the individuality is not there at all. Aham kimapi na janami. I don't know anything. Because the Sukshma Sharira is totally withdrawn. Sukhena maya nidranubhuyate. Because this individuality is not there and all the problems, awareness of the problems related to the individuality are not there. One may have certain diseases. One may have a certain disease in the body. When one goes to deep sleep, there is no awareness of the body nor its disease. One may have certain family problems. When one goes to deep sleep, there is no awareness of the family nor the family's problems. Body, mind, possessions, profession, family, all of these are the source of the problems in the waking state. Since the awareness of these is not there, the awareness of the individuality that relates to these things is not there. None of these problems are there. That is why Sukham Nidra Anubhuyate, Sukhena Anubhuyate. One experiences these lack of all these problems. And moreover, the ananda that we said is the inherent nature of the Atma is reflected in the Karana Sharira. And therefore one experiences this happiness also. Sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate. There is experiential happiness because the Atmananda is reflected in the Karana Sharira. The Sthula Sharira awareness is not there. The Sukshma Sharira is withdrawn. Only the Karana Sharira is there in Sushupti Avastha. And in that, the Atmananda is reflected. Therefore, there is experience of happiness and there is experience of total ignorance. But I don't claim this, as we said, during sleep. I don't say I am sleeping happily. If I am saying I am sleeping happily, that means I am not sleeping. It's only after waking up that I recall my sleep experience. So this is Sushupti Avastha. And karana sharira bhimani atma pragya ityuchyate. That is one who is identified with this karana sharira in deep sleep. That person is given this name called pragya. The only identification with the Karana Sharira, as we said, the awareness of the Sthula and Sukshma Sharira is not there at all. Only the Karana Sharira identification is there. But then the Atma is also there at that time. The Karana Sharira is there. The Atma is there backing the Karana Sharira. This is the reason I am able to recall the experience when I get up. I cannot recall somebody else's experiences. For example, if you go to some hill station like Kodaikanal and you spend some time there, 2-3 days, I cannot recall your experience there. Only you can recall your experience. Because somebody else's experience, I cannot recall it. I should have had that experience myself, only then I can recall it. So the fact that after getting up, I'm able to say, I slept well. Sukhena maya nidranubhuyate. Aham kimapi na janami tadavasthayam. In that sushupti avastha, aham kimapi na janami. I did not know anything. So I am able to recall this only because somewhere in the Karana Sharira there was this experience being recorded. In the Karana Avastha it was recorded. That I slept well, I did not know anything. I had that experience, but that experience itself was not verbalized, impossible to be verbalized during Sushupti Avastha, but it was recorded in the Karana Sharira, and that I am recalling when I get up. Saying I slept well, I was happy. So this indicates that I was very much there during the deep sleep state also, because I cannot recall somebody else's experience. This was my intimate experience in deep sleep. That is why I am able to recall it. So I was very much there. Whatever I call I was very much there. I say the same individual who is awake now slept well. The same individual who is awake now slept happily, experienced happiness. And therefore, I am able to recall it because I, the one who is saying I, was very much there in sleep also. So Vidyaranya gives this example of a lamp that lights up a theater. Suppose there is some dance hall and there is audience sitting there. And then there is a lamp that lights up the entire show. So the king arrives and sits on his throne, and then there are musicians who play some music. And then there are these dancers who dance. So all of this happens. And when the show ends, the king leaves first. And then the musicians leave, the dancers leave. At this point, there is nothing in the hall. But to know that there is nothing in the hall, there has to be a light that illumines the nothingness also. So the lamp that was illumining the hall is still there, lighting up the emptiness of the hall, lighting up the nothingness in the hall. This lamp is very much there. So similarly, we say, I experience blankness during deep sleep. I experience nothing in deep sleep. But to say that I experience nothing, there has to be an experiencer who says that nothing was experienced. Without that experiencer, one cannot say there was nothing. There has to be somebody who says there is nothing. If I enter a room, suppose somebody is moving and is doing a final check to say that every room has been vacated. So he goes into the room and says there is nothing in the room. But he is there as the witness of the nothing. Therefore, we say that even in the deep sleep state, I am there as the witness of that emptiness, of that blankness, of that nothingness. I am there as a witness. That is why I am able to say there was nothing in the deep sleep state. Just as a light continues to illumine the whole theater even after everybody has vacated, his Atma is there even in deep sleep state. As the witness, as the Sakshi of the deep sleep state, it is very much there. So now we talked about Vishwa, Taijasa and Pragya. So what is the relationship of Atma with these? Vishwa, Taijasa and Pragya. We say that if we take the example of a necklace, bangle and ring. So when we look at the necklace, bangle and ring, then they are all names of forms of gold. They are all gold in different costumes, basically. Gold, from its own standpoint, is not the necklace, nor the bangle, nor the ring, because gold can have independent existence. And it's gold alone that appears in the form of the necklace, the bangle, and the ring. There can be no necklace, no bangle, no ring without the gold, because gold is the Satyam. Similarly, say that you, the Atma, you, the Atma, is the one, you, the Atma, are the one who appears as Vishwa in the costume of the Sthula Sharira and experience the physical world. Vishwa is the waker in waking state. Sthula Sharira Bhimani Atma Vishwa Ityuchyate. So you, the Atma, alone appear as Vishwa wearing the costume of the Sthula Sharira and experience this physical world. You, the Atma, alone appear as Taijasa in the costume of the Sukshma Sharira and you experience the dream world. And you, the Atma, alone appear as Pragya in the deep sleep state, wearing the costume of the Karana Sharira and you experience that nothingness. And that happiness, that reflected happiness, you experience the blankness and the reflected happiness. But Atma, from its own standpoint, is not the Vishwa, nor the Taijasa, not the Pragya. Just as gold, from its own standpoint, is neither the necklace, nor the bangle, nor the ring. This Atma, from its own standpoint, is none of these Vishwa, Taijasa, or Pragya, because it can exist independently. But it can also wear any of these three costumes. The gold alone appears in the form of necklace, ring, and bangle. These are names of different names given to gold. Similarly, Vishwa, Taijasa, and Pragya are just different names given to Atma. Atma is not some kind of a fourth state. And Atma is called Turiya by Mandukya Upanishad as being the fourth, but that fourth is not really a fourth completely different state which I have to experience other than Vishwa, Taijasa and Pragya. Atma pervades Vishwa, Taijasa and Pragya just as gold pervades the necklace, bangle and ring. Necklace, bangle and ring are just different names given to forms of gold. Similarly, Vishwa, Taijasa and Pragya are just different names given to Atma in those respective costumes. So we can take an example of a movie here. Who has in the movie there are three characters. Two of these characters are twins. One is called Vishwa and the other is called Taijasa. They are the names of the characters. And their father is Pragya. So these twins clearly they have some resemblance to each other, and they also resemble the father. So the director of the movie thought that I'll go on a budget movie with only one actor in the movie who's playing all these three roles. So he hires this actor and gives him a very strange job. He says, you have to play this role of this Vishwa, who's a rich person, who's a rich twin. And then you have to play the role of this Taijasa, who's a poor twin. And then you also have to play the role of their father. And the father happens to be a Vanaprasthi, a Tyagi kind of a person. So you have to play the role of the father also. And the movie is just a set of shots where first Vishwa appears, and then Taijasa appears, and then Pragya appears. And a tyrant king has imprisoned these three people in their own rooms. So Vishwa, this first rich twin, he's wearing some nice clothes and some real jewelry and all that. He is imprisoned in a room with windows, so he can look outside the room. And he looks outside and interacts with the physical world outside. But the second twin, who's Taijasa, he is not as rich, so he wears some imitation clothes, not the branded ones, but he wears some imitation brand that try to imitate those clothes. The idea that dream is basically an imitation of the waking state. So he wears these imitation clothes and imitation jewelry, etc. And he is enclosed in a windowless room. And there are only paintings within that room. He just looks at those paintings all day long. Their father, who is this Vanaprasthi, who is a Tyagi, he just wears a Kaupina Vastram, that's all. He doesn't have any clothes also, he just wears a Kaupina. And he's enclosed in this room in total darkness. He cannot know anything. So now these shots appear in the movie, one after another, where first he shows Vishwa, who is just looking out through the windows, wearing some good clothes. And then the same actor then appears in the movie as Taijasa, where he's just staring at these paintings in the room. He can't look outside, there are no windows. He doesn't even know there's something called outside. For him, this is outside. What he's looking at. And then this Pragya, then there are shots of Pragya where the actor appears as this Tyagi who's in the Kaupina Vastram, and he's in this dark room. These shots keep appearing in the movie. So the actor himself appears as Vishwa, the first rich twin. And he's enclosed in this windowed room, he looks outside. The actor himself appears as Taijasa, who just looks at these paintings all day long within the room. The actor himself appears as Pragya, who stares at blankness. One actor behind all these three roles. But the actor himself is not any of these costumes. The actor is not the rich clothes. The actor is not the imitation clothes. The actor is not that Kaupina Vastram also. The actor is clearly not the costume. The actor is not any of these roles also. These are roles played by the actor, but the actor has an independent existence. He can be there without these roles also. Similarly, we say that it is you, the Atma, who appear in the form of Vishwa, wearing this costume of the Sthula Shariram, and you look out through these windows. It is you, the Atma, who appear in the costume of this Sukshma Shariram and then experience this Vasana painted dream world. And it is you, the Atma, that appear in the costume of the Karana Shariram, and you say, I experience nothingness, I experience blankness. So behind all of them is the Atma. You are not any of these costumes, you are not any of these roles either. You are an independently existing entity. That consciousness principle you are, that is behind Vishwa, behind Tejasa, and behind Pragya. The attributes of the costumes and the roles belong to the costumes and the roles, not to you. So Atma is this common entity that exists in the waking state, in the dream state, in the deep sleep state. I say I dreamt, I slept, I am awake. That means this I has to be something that is commonly there in the waking, in the dream, and in the deep sleep state. This Stula Sharira is not there in dream state, but I am still there. So I cannot be the Stula Sharira. The dream body I identify with in the dream state is not there in the waking state. So I cannot be this dream body also. I cannot be the Sukshma Sharira also. Then in deep sleep state, this Vishwa and Taijasa both are not there. But I am very much there because I have registered the experience of sleeping. That is why I am able to recall it when I get up. So I am clearly not this Vishwa, the waker. I am not the dreamer. This is the analysis that I have to go through. But then am I the sleeper? Am I the sleeper? We say, even the sleeper, this pragya, you are not, because there, this costume of the unmanifest individual is still there. The Karana Shariram is there in deep sleep state. You have identified with the Karana Sharira and you say you are the sleeper. Atma is not the sleeper also. Because this Karana Sharira is there, the waker emerges and this dreamer emerges. From this Karana Sharira, the Stula Sukshma Shariras emerge. This waker and dreamer emerge later because the individuality is there in an unmanifest state as the Karana Sharira. So you are not the Karana Sharira also. The Karana Sharira is the costume you wear to appear as the sleeper. But you are not the sleeper also. So just as a crystal in the presence of a red flower appears to be red, in the presence of a blue flower appears to be blue, in the presence of a brown flower appears to be brown, but the crystal is inherently colorless. These are called upadhis. Upadhis are something that produce some seeming change in something else, but it is not a real change. The crystal appears to be red, brown, or blue based on the upadhi. So all of these costumes and the roles are only upadhis. The Atma appears to be a waker, the Atma appears to be a dreamer, the Atma appears to be a sleeper, but the Atma is not inherently affected by any of these upadhis. The crystal remains colorless by nature, even though it appears to be colored. Atma appears to be a waker, Atma appears to be a dreamer, Atma appears to be a sleeper, but it's only an appearance, it is not the reality. Atma does not awaken, Atma does not go to sleep, Atma has no eyelids to close and open. Atma is always there. It is unaffected by the coming and going of these slates. You are that Atma that is unaffected by the coming and the going of these three states and the respective costumes. So this is the final understanding that I have to come to through this Avasthā Traya Viveka. We'll conclude our discussion today. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.